also cybersecurity act here, which also protects us in case something of this is happening. You can always go ahead and file a complaint there as well. So a lot
Ooh.
of times when we get these cases, like we handle posh cases, but then I don't have an authority over anybody's Facebook account or LinkedIn account if someone has set up a false account and is, harassing me. So you can always take that case to the cybersecurity
Oh.
team.
How do you do that?
So they have the contact numbers, they have the email IDs. You need to share details with them. So I would know largely of the place where I'm staying in Gujarat. So they have a contact number. You can visit them personally, let them know this is happening. They would help you out immediately. Then there are also contact numbers for women. So if you're receiving some calls from one particular number, you
Mhm.
can inform them accordingly, and they will immediately talk to that person, ensure that you do not receive those calls. So I personally use these services, and they are effective. They work immediately. Not just that, they will call you after some time and check, is that person still harassing you? Do you think you still need help? So I think the government has done such wonderful measures to protect women. What really happens is the awareness is very less as compared to the awareness we would like to get into the society. So that's why I do a lot of these sessions on posh, on gender equality, on women's safety, because government keeps doing a lot of things, but the way it gets circulated amongst the lowest rate of the society is a challenge. And
Mhm.
that's where I think we can fill the gap.
Well, my question then is, obviously you're doing this as a profession.
Yes.
Who pays if you want to take a case?
So what would happen is government has made it mandatory that every organization should have a posh committee in which one member is from the outside. Like I mentioned about this ICC committee, in this one member has to be an external panel member. So I am working as an external panel member with a lot of organizations where the companies would pay us when the case comes up. So
Right.
how do you handle these cases? And if a woman approaches me because she has been harassed and the company is not taking up her case, then I help her voluntarily. I don't charge her anything from that.
Does the if you help someone that doesn't have enough money,
Yes.
and because it's so, the evidence is so captured, it's an open and shut case, does the
Yes.
business then have to pay after the fact?
So not really. So every organization, what happens is they have their either posh consultant or
Mhm.
they would have an external panel member. So they pay to that person only. So if I am helping a woman in my individual capacity, then nobody would pay me for it. So what
Okay.
I would just help is I would help out how to file a complaint if the organization is not listening, or how to get the documents through. So unfortunately, my role gets restricted there. I cannot take it ahead.
Okay, so essentially, the people you want to reach obviously are the women.
Yes.
From the business's perspective,
Yes.
what are the benefits of bringing you in? Because obviously businesses are going to watch this. When we post the videos, we're going to hashtag India, hashtag posh, stuff like that. So it'll come
Yeah.
up in people's feeds and they'll see it. Who do you
Yes.
really want to be talking to get on the panel of more companies?
So what we do is we generally talk to a lot of organizations. We work with a lot of corporates, organizations, universities, and help them get the awareness on POSH. So the first step is that everybody needs to be aware of what POSH Act is, what is the behavior that is acceptable for men and women. And here the education for women is just as much that this is an act for your protection. And if you feel that you are being sexually harassed, you need to file a complaint. This is the process. What men need to know is that this kind of behavior is not acceptable. Doing certain things like even forcing a woman to shake hands with you can come under the ambit of sexual harassment. So that's what we need to heavily educate men. Also let them know about things which would come under the category of gender discrimination, how to ensure gender equality, because right now India is trying to come up with a lot of gender equality. All organizations are making some or the other attempt in that place. So that's how we get into that place. We help organizations ensure more diversity and inclusion, help women provide more opportunities, more support in their workplaces. And if these cases come up, we help them to ensure that the cases are handled in the right possible way. So inquiries happened in the, yeah, absolutely unbiased, objective way. So it should not happen that a case comes and you immediately fire the man without even finding out if he was actually guilty or not. And it should not happen that a woman wants to file a case and you keep brushing it under the carpet because you're scared that we don't want such case. So that's where we get the perfect blend and ensure that the organization is able to meet out the right kind of process inquiry for the process, and its goodwill also doesn't get affected in the process, because once these cases get out of hand, there is so much of negativity that surrounds the organization that it has multiple ramifications for them, which
Yeah.
becomes difficult to nullify in the long run.
So it would be good for you then if anyone is watching this from a university or a college in India.
Yes.
Now, what sort of, so you've told me before, are you in Gujarat, did you say?
So I belong to a place known as Chandigarh, and I'm currently based in Gujarat.
Okay,
That's
fine.
how.
So, and how far would you travel? Well, actually, is this something you can do over Zoom, or is it something you need to be there?
So we do it both ways. We do a lot of online sessions. We also do a lot of offline sessions, depending on what the organization's requirement is. So for a lot of corporates right now, the online platform is so rampant. So we have been working across the country, helping organizations create POSH awareness. And we are also doing offline sessions in case, especially if there are a lot of workers involved, so they're not very comfortable with the technology. There we go there and conduct these sessions. So we're doing it both ways.
Excellent. So, learning institutions, getting girls to understand their rights. But what's interesting and horrific is that, so in the UK, there was figures released by, there's a Freedom of Information Act, and between 2015 and 2018, the police were investigating 5,000 sexual attacks, including rape in school.
Oh my God.
And 2,000 of those cases, the perpetrator and the victim was below 10. So, yeah, so there is something going on at the very core of the way boys and girls are raised. There was another book I read actually called The Authority Gap. I won't show you now, but it was saying in there that when men and women are producing the same, say they've got a sales target, men are promoted 14 times more than women and given pay rises 10 times more than women, producing exactly the same result. So this sense of entitlement, this sense of I'm better than you and therefore you have to accept my behavior, that's something, that's the sort of toxicity that seems, and I was going to say cultural, but it's not, because as I said earlier, the same thing happens in this country, in America, in any of the developed economies, really. So